me read this comment. Let me read this comment. I left somebody on Facebook. It just ties right in with this. And I thought about talking about this today. I did this video 2 years ago. This is when I first started using the D800, the Nikon,
Right.
with the lens I use to record videos. This is before we started this podcast.
Okay.
So Facebook does memory. So this was 2 years ago I posted this. Actually, this is February 15th. I don't know how that was 2 years ago from just recently. I posted it yesterday.
Okay.
So let me just play a little bit of this. It's a 20-minute video. So I now all of this is impromptu, Jim. I used to do all these videos impromptu.
Right.
So I started out fairly. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it gets pretty intense. Yesterday we talked about some pretty heavy things. We talked about genocide. And I'm sure that sounds extreme to a lot of people, not the viewers here, I don't think. Most of the viewers here are very aware of what's going on. That's why you've come here, because you've got a heightened awareness. And these things that we talk about here, well, they're not necessarily for the general public. I mean, they are for the general public, but the general public's not going to accept 90% of what is said here. Anyway, Jim, sometimes I digress, but I was basically talking about genocide. This was a follow-up to a video that I made where I talked about genocide, meaning this rollout of these death shots.
Right.
And so this guy, Ed, I like Ed, man. Sorry, Ed. You know, we're talking about your comment if you watch this video, because he still watches my videos. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to make, the thing about it is I used to make videos about health and fitness.
Right.
And Ed loved them. Now I'm talking about all this tinfoil hat stuff, and Ed just, he's resistant.
Right.
Ed says, what I do know, I sell insurance for a living, but I've been following your content for years. 3 exclamation points.
Right.
I appreciate that, Ed. I'm glad you still listen to my fucking videos. Most people I know would click off of your average post in the first 30 seconds. There is an arrogance in the way you present it that would lead to that result. With the amount of time and effort you put into things and the knowledge you have, you should have thousands of viewers. Okay. I guess. So I reply, when you know the truth, you don't mince words. I was responding to the arrogance part of it. You know, it could be interpreted as that. My confidence in what I say could be interpreted as arrogance, but it's just confidence, Jim.
Well, you know, see, Mark, here's the thing. These normies, as I call them, I'll just call, you know what? I'm not even going to use that term. I'm just going to use the term the unbegun, you know. I'm going to use the term that the dark occultists call humanity, because it needs to get out there more that this is what they call people, you know, just like they call police and military our pets, our dogs.
Yeah.
So these terms need to be used on a wider basis, because we can't use euphemisms anymore with these. The time has long passed.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, the unbegun, the average unbegun who's going to say something like that about arrogance, they've been so socially engineered that the minute somebody talks about speaking from absolute truth and stating that with even a modicum of
conviction,
conviction and masculine energy and just the, you know, righteousness.
Here's another thing, Jim.
Yeah.
People are so used to that masculine energy being marginalized and bred out.
That's right.
They don't even know how to deal with it when they see it.
They
call it arrogance, or they call it anger. Oh, you're so angry, Mark Tassi.
Right. Exactly.
Don't be so angry. Like the that runs the organization said to me, oh, don't be so angry. You're angry. Oh my God, you're unable to handle the energies coming from the Mother Earth because you're not as advanced as we are. We're peaceful. Namaste.
Getting back to this point about, you know, if you state anything with any degree of emphasis, any degree of righteous indignation, any degree of true masculine force and that energy, people do not know how to handle it because it's been bred out of most, because the social engineers have got it
Hey,
to
Jim,
where,
not only
yeah,
that,
yeah.
these people are such brilliant scientists. They're spraying the shit in the air. They're
Oh,
putting it
absolutely.
in the food.
Yep. That's absolutely,
Atrazine turns male frogs into female
that's
frogs.
right. That's absolutely correct, Mark.
Plastic. Why do you think I'm drinking out of glass?
Right?
The
Exactly.
estrogenic properties of plastic. You think that's by chance?
Exactly. The only bottled water, because I know that, my wife has a subscription to Fiji, and we drink that because the plastic that they use is not BPA,
Oh,
BH.
I didn't know that. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Fiji,
Here's the thing. Here's a little tip,
Fiji is
Jim.
the only
Here's a
water.
tip.
Yeah, go
Here's
ahead.
a tip. I brought my Berkey water purifier to
Right.
Cambodia and I left it there.
Ah,
Okay. So I am buying water in plastic bottles, but
right.
guess what? Okay. The damage is probably already done, but I don't leave it in there. I
Yes.
transfer it to dark blue glass bottles
Yep. There you
and I
go.
put the glass bottles in the sun because I'll tell
Yep.
you what, sunlight is a purifier.
Right.
So now maybe I'm not 100% rectifying the situation, but
Yeah.
I'm ameliorating it a bit.
That's right. And also the other thing is you can put hydrogen, you can put H2 capsules in the water, which hydro-
Hydrogenated water. Yeah, I heard about that.
you
They
can,
even have little machines that will put hydrogen
right,
ions in your water.
that's correct. And also the other thing that we have that's fantastic, we have this machine, a Soma Vedic, that actually changes the properties of water,
Amazing.
in that
Amazing.
in that
Yeah.
way, which is great. I mean, we put it on. Our cat sat in front of the Soma Vedic, just stretched out on the bed.
Well,
Sat in front.
cats are just that sensitive, man.
Yeah,
Let's get
exactly.
back to this comment.
Yes.
When you know the truth, you don't mince words. And the willful ignorance of so many can be a frustrating thing. Judging from now, I got to say, I've been absolutely patient with Ed for 4 years because he's been harping on me like this for 4 years. And Ed's a
Right.
friend of mine. I like Ed. We played in a band together. That was a great experience.
Right.
Ed's a really good player. Everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Judging from your idea of things in the past 4 years, I don't give a fuck what you or the average person thinks or does. I'm referring to
Yeah.
they're going to click off in 30 seconds. Like I could give a shit whether you click off in 30 seconds. Like
Right.
I'm going to mince words with you just not to offend your
Lose
pink
view.
ears.
Yeah. Or to lose viewership. Yeah,
Exactly. And for the men in the audience, the real fucking men, they know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And they don't have pink ears to be offended
That's right.
or feathers to be ruffled.
That's right.
When you've been battle worn, you got no feathers left.
That's right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you or the average person thinks or does, except is the key word here, except that your compliance and apathy and the compliance and apathy of those of similar ilk in these recent years is what got us to this point.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Edward. Your ignorance of the facts has done a fine job. You voiced your dissatisfaction with my videos numerous times. That's an understatement.
Right.
I don't think anyone is twisting your arm to watch them.
Right.
Now, I left several comments here.
Right.
Look here. Here's an example of what. Here's an example. We've been saying, I don't say I, Jim, because it's not
Yeah.
about me. And
Right.
I'm not the only one saying this by a long way. I'm not like I'm, deluded fucking off the, fringe, imbalanced conspiracy theorist.
Right.
I say, here's an example. We've been saying this for 2 or 3 years now. Are people like you paying attention? Not very freaking likely. And there's this right here. UK government committed premeditated mass murder of the elderly and infirm. It ordered massive quantities of midazolam before any widespread prevalence of SARS-CoV-2. Same for remdesivir in the US? Yes, exactly the same for remdesivir in the
That's
US.
right.
And guess what? Guess what? They were using midazolam in the US too, but not like what
The rem-
remdesivir was to the US, midazolam was to the UK.
That's
They were
correct.
murdering people with remdesivir here. They
Yep.
were murdering people with midazolam
There.
there.
That's correct.
But they did use midazolam here too because it's such an effective euthanasia drug.
Yeah.
Let's call it that.
Yeah. Let's call it that. Let's call it.
They were also
Magic.
using morphine here to murder people.
That's correct.
See, the excuse, the use of ventilators, the overuse of ventilators during the beginning of this so-called pandemic was
Right.
an excuse to murder people with sedatives like morphine. Because
That's
if you're going
correct.
to intubate somebody, you have to sedate them. And they
Correct.
use drugs like morphine and midazolam to sedate people. Add
That's
in
correct.
remdesivir, and your fucking lungs might fail. Your kidneys may fail. You put
Yeah.
somebody on a ventilator and remdesivir combined with a cocktail of midazolam and morphine, and they're never going to recover.
That's right.
90% of the people in New York, because New York was one of the hardest hit, 90% of the people put on ventilators in New York died, you dumbass motherfuckers. We were saying this to you.
That's
Oh,
correct.
Mark, is it really no virus? Because my friend just died and his wife is in critical condition. Oh, Mark, you mean to tell me there's no virus? I have a friend who just died in the hospital. Oh. Do you know who died of fucking of coronavirus, of SARS-CoV-2? You think anybody at home died? No. Nobody at home died because they were dying from the medical protocol in the hospital. The people who died from coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, died in the hospital. I mean, come on, man. You don't die from a phantom.